Hello! Welcome back to our McWorld. Mallory.
Courtney. And today we are going to be talking about more of our favorite female characters.
This time we're going to cover books and other, not movies.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about in this video any character who we were first introduced to in a book.
Yeah.
So if they've made it into a movie or a TV show or something later, we'll probably just mention it in this video, not in the other video.
Because a lot of our favorite female characters, now some of them we may have already mentioned in the TV show, but sometimes we read the books first, sometimes saw the movies first, whatever, but anyway, here we go. So, just to do a couple of others that I wanted to mention before we dive far into the book. So I wanted to mention Elphaba from Wicked.
Mm-hmm. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Because Wicked is a book. Mallory's read it, I have not. But we saw the play at the Fox, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And, Galinda's a good character, too. But Elphaba, she's just really awesome, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, she has
overcome a lot and still kind of be who you are.
Yeah.
And not who people tell you need to be.
Right. So, and she kept trying to do the right thing, even though people thought that she was doing the wrong thing, but really they were in the wrong. So, anyway, I wanted to mention Elphaba. And then I don't think I've mentioned these before, but I'm going to mention them here instead of in the movies because I don't really consider this a movie. But Angelica and Eliza Schuyler from Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And Peggy.
It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war. People shouting in the square. It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Look around, look around. Angelica, remind me what we're looking for.
She's looking for me. Eliza, I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work.
I guess because I know that there's the Hamilton movie, but really I feel like that's just they just filmed the live version of the play. So,
yeah.
Is it really a movie? So, obviously, Angelica and Eliza both, too, also went through a lot, but I just really respected that Eliza left Hamilton after he cheated on her and made it and told everybody because, the heck, dude, why did you do that? And then Angelica was just so smart, and she, even though she had to make some choices she didn't want to for the benefit of her family, I feel like she kind of knew what she was up against and, played the best hand she could with the cards she was dealt.
Yeah.
And, I just like women who are, obviously, they're smart and, don't care if they intimidate people because of how smart they are and how go-getter they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, they were both awesome.
Good characters.
Yes. Okay, on to the books.
So, first we'll start with Harry Potter. How about?
Harry Potter.
So, obviously they made all those into movies, and a lot of people have only seen the movies.
Yes.
We've learned.
Yeah.
But I guess it'll always be more of a book thing than a movie thing.
Yeah. I have read the books, all but the last one, several times. And then I've only ever seen the movies one time because I kind of tend to pick them apart and be like, they left this out, they left that out.
Mm-hmm. They left out a whole lot, especially in the last, towards the end movies, even though they split the last one into two so they could have more.
Yeah, they did a little bit better there, but 5 and 6, I'm just really not sure if you hadn't read the books that you would know what was going on.
No, they were very confusing movies if you didn't already know what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, I remember actually, I think it was after 6. I think that was the one we had gone to, and at the time you hadn't read the books. Mm-hmm. And I think it was that one, and I turned to you after the movie, and I was like, do you understand what just happened?
Yeah.
And you were like, well, kinda, but like, it was confusing.
Yeah. Because I sort of knew about the series a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously, Hermione Granger.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
She's one of the best female characters, I think. And because she's smart. Mm-hmm. And she's smarter than everybody else, pretty much.
Yes. And
ends up saving their lives a whole lot.
Yeah.
And really might be the hero of the book.
Yeah, she is.
Instead of Harry.
Yeah. Harry's kind of lame sometimes, to be fair.
Harry, no way. You heard what Madam Hooch said. Besides, you don't even know how to fly. What an idiot.
But yeah, but she also does. She goes out and actually fights for her friends, and she never just sits back. Yeah. But she also uses her brain, which cannot be said for everybody.
Like Harry. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, I just always loved that Hermione really never felt the need to, like, dumb herself down to get a guy or whatever. And I know people were mad that she ended up with Ron because they're kind of polar opposites, but I think I'm totally for her and Ron as opposed to her and Harry. I don't think she and Harry would be a good match anyway, but, like, I feel like people that are very driven and very ambitious and smart, a lot of times that also comes with self-imposed pressure on, and you need somebody that can help you liven up and, you know, remind you of the good things and how to take it slow. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, Hermione is awesome.
Yes.
And I was glad that they had such a great, smart female character in one of the best-selling book series. The best-selling book series, probably, in the world.
Yeah, right. She's who most people talk about from there.
Yeah.
Which there are also other good female characters in Harry Potter, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I have some more that are also my favorites. Probably my other most favorite character, and this rings true, I think, for a lot of people, is Molly Weasley. People love Molly.
Not my daughter, you bitch.
And, you know, when she took out Bellatrix, it was like, that got one of the biggest cheers of any movie I've ever been to. And I mean, she just was such a fierce defender of her family. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, and it just seemed like, oh, well, she's kind of, at first it just seemed like, oh, she's this housewife, she's taking care of all these kids and, you know, whatever. But, I mean, first of all, what an endeavor anyway, taking care of all those kids, raising them up to all be good people. Also, when 2 of them are Fred and George. And then, not only do you lose one of your sons, one of your sons becomes a werewolf, and then, you know, just all these trials and tribulations, and yet she still was such a fierce warrior. You know, she would just go into battle just like anybody else, and I just thought that was so cool that she did that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
loved Molly. I also, of course, love McGonagall, Minerva McGonagall. I mean, I know she was kind of a stickler, but it was just funny whenever she'd get those little barbs in, you know, and like when she animated all the statues at Hogwarts to fight and, you know, have a biscuit Potter, of course. Yeah. That's a classic. But then, too, you just know that she had this other life before. I mean, she was on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. I mean, she's super smart, but she's also a Gryffindor, so you know she's got all these really brave qualities. And whenever Albus was, you know, out for one reason or another because people kept doing nonsense, she would just step in and...
Yeah.
And so, too, I'm excited about I know that series is fraught with drama, but, you know, she briefly appeared in the last Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to make more of them, who knows? Because, like, literally almost half those people are problematic for one reason or another. But
we've decided they should just replace Grindelwald in every
movie. Yeah.
Just have a new guy.
So far they have. I mean, the first one, he was posing as Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And turned into Johnny Depp at the end. Then he was Johnny Depp. And then now he's Mads Mikkelsen, but like...
Just keep switching it up.
Get a new guy next time. He can be like Rusty in National Lampoons. And then I do also love Jenny. I always thought that she was cool because she didn't take any crap from anybody, which, you know, with all those brothers, she kind of had to be tough.
Yeah.
The doctor!
So...
anything is possible if you have enough nerve.
Yep. Yeah. So I always loved Jenny. And then the last one from those books I'll mention is Tonks.
Don't worry, Harry. We'll explain everything when we get back to headquarters. Shh. Not here, Nymphadora.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
Yeah, I really like Tonks in the book. She was one of my favorite characters. She was... I guess now it's funny because we've been playing Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery for years. And Tonks is in the game. So you're kind of used to like young Tonks now.
Yeah.
But I like the Tonks from the books because I felt like that's one of the things that the movies did not do justice. Or some of the side characters like that.
Right.
That they really kind of got pushed back and you didn't learn a lot about Tonks in the movies.
Right.
Like you do in the books, kind of. And, you know, from the family that she came from.
Right.
You know, I mean, half her family were Death Eaters and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, then she falls in love with the werewolf, which is complicated.
Yeah.
And even though she was kind of accident prone and stuff, she was really... still dedicated to the cause and wanting to do the right thing, and she even showed up, you know, at the end, even knowing, you know, she had her son and all this stuff, but still wanted to help, which, you know,
unfortunately, R.I.P. Tonks.
But
also, she was a Hufflepuff.
Yep.
So we have both independently cosplayed as Tonks before.
Yeah.
Various versions of Tonks.
It's true. It's true. On to another young adult. A lot of these characters I have are actually from young adult series books.
Yeah.
From the Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen.
Thank you for your consideration.
Yes. I know now a lot of people have seen the movies.
Yeah.
But we read the books back before there were movies and everything. And I really like Katniss. I like Katniss in the movies too.
Yeah.
Even though she's sort of kind of like Katniss in the books. Mm-hmm. It's always hard, I guess, when you're casting roles to capture exactly what people envisioned when they were reading the book. Yeah. But I did think Jennifer Lawrence did a good job in the movie. But the book, is still, obviously the book's always better.
Yeah.
And like 98% of the time.
Right, yeah.
But Katniss was one, she obviously had a very hard time of it. Mm-hmm. Being from District 12. And she had taught herself, how to hunt and how to take care of her family. And she was prepared for everything because she kind of stepped up and took over after her dad died.
Right.
So she, obviously she went into the Hunger Games and was really good.
She volunteered as tribute.
Yeah. To save her sister. And she saved PETA a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. And then ended up kind of helping where, faced the revolution, whether she wanted to.
Pan Am.
Yeah. whether she really wanted to. I think she was relatable in a way of, a lot of times when you read about characters who are like these heroines who go out and they like lead these, let's say rebellions. They do all this big stuff. But Katniss was really a reluctant hero. Yeah. It's kind of like, I really don't want to do that because I'm a teenager. Like, I already had to go fight for my life. Like, I really don't want to do this. Yeah. But it's kind of like you do, like normal people do. You find yourself in a situation of like, I want to help, but also I don't want to. Yeah. Because I've already done all, I'm traumatized. I just want to live my life.
Yeah, a lot of people are just doing everything they can to get by anyway, and that was especially true of people in District 12. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, Katniss and them pretty much having to kind of fight every day for their lives between, there not being enough work, so there's not enough money, so there's not enough food, so there's not enough anything. Mm-hmm. And then, people are entering the Hunger Games and putting their names in so much more just so they can feed their families. And, that's terrible. And so that's kind of like, you're already going through all that, and then you have to, on top of that, now you have to lead a revolution and be the face of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also really like the fact that she wasn't a character who like fawned over any guy. Yeah. She wasn't like obsessed with somebody or like I don't know, she was like I feel like it was realistic in the way of you trying to figure out, it's like, obviously it's like an exaggerated situation of now you're fighting to the death. And people are like, you need to put romance. And she's kind of like, that's not really the most important thing right now. Right. But
this is literally life or death.
Yeah, even when she starts like realizing she has feelings for these boys, she's kind of like, it's not like the forefront of everything. Right. She doesn't just obsess over these two. She's got more important things to focus on, like taking care of her family, and then, everything else crazy that happens. So I like that she's not she's just kind of trying to figure it out as she goes. Yeah. Which I think is one of the things that I liked about that love triangle as opposed to several, is that you were kind of going along with Katniss of like, do I trust these people? I like these people, I think. Do I? Yeah. How do I feel? I really don't know. Yeah. And as a reader, I was like that too. I'm like, I really don't know how I feel about them either. Like up until towards the end. But anyway, so I really like Katniss.
Yeah. I did also really like Joanna in the Hunger Games. But I think, honestly, Joanna might have been a teeny bit better in the movies than in the books. Because in the books, I feel like we just didn't get the same kind of like likability and vulnerability that you got from the movies. Mm-hmm. Because in the movie you could just tell that all of Joanna's anger and tough love came from. You could tell it was because it was coming from like an inner pain type of a thing. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt like she was really cool in the books and the movies, but I like Joanna a lot too.
Yes, I'm angry. I'm getting totally screwed over here. Uh-huh. The deal was that if I win the Hunger Games, I get to live the rest of my life in peace. Hmm? But now, you want to kill me again.
Now, someone from books that we didn't like in the movies, really much at all. She did her best, to be fair, I suppose. And also only from books 1 and 2. Is Tris Pryor from the Divergent series.
Never gonna win, not like that.
That's good to know.
I did not think that Shailene Woodley was the best person to play her in the movies. I feel like, and honestly though, Shailene never stood a chance, because now that we had previously only seen Shailene Woodley in a role in which she was very annoying. Yes. So, admittedly, we did go into it with like kind of jaded expectations, but we've since seen her in a role where she's actually very good. Yeah. Not annoying, pretty tough if we'd have seen that first, when she got cast as Triss, we probably would have been like, yeah, okay, cool move. But first of all, she just really didn't fit the bill of what Triss was supposed to look like at all. And then also, whoever made those movies evidently, like, just started writing a different movie in the middle, because they hardly followed the books at all.
No, it just went off the rails crazy like.
Yeah.
Those movies are not great.
No.
But Triss was a very strong character. She was also kind of at first, she was a person that I can somewhat relate to, of you want to experience something new.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be stuck in one thing forever.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of lived in a world where you had to choose one faction. You couldn't, you couldn't just be into everything.
Yeah.
Or fit into multiple categories. And so she always felt like she didn't really fit into hers, and always wanted to try something new, and was brave enough to do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously things went crazy a little bit, but she was always...
The books also went off the rails.
Till the last book, which was also not great. It was, first of all, very confusing, the way it was written.
Yeah.
Because it was from two perspectives, but they weren't... It was hard to keep up of who... You kind of forgot who was talking, and then, I don't know, anyway, I don't like the last book. But the first two books were really good.
Yeah, see, I feel like if you're going to write from different perspectives, it needs to be, like, each character really needs their own voice, to where, I mean, that is something, say what you want to, Stephanie Meyer did very well with the Twilight books. Like, when Jacob was writing, it was very different than when Bella was talking, so, like, you wouldn't get
really confused.
Yeah. But I feel like Four and Triss, their voices were not distinct enough to where you'd forget whose chapter you were reading, I felt like.
Yeah. And it kind of got weird too, the story.
Yeah.
And the Triss's behavior, I don't know, it just seemed weird in the last one.
Yeah.
But in the first two, though.
Yeah.
She was, I guess, sort of trying to embrace her divergentness.
Yeah.
But also try not to, and overcome her fears, and which is also relatable, to have, no matter what your fear is, to try to, even hers, she was kind of embarrassed of hers, but that's something a lot of people probably kind of have a little bit of anxiety about. So it was nice to be addressed, I guess, especially for, young people reading it.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so another series that I really like, and you're still reading now, is the Caraval series. I really like those, and I really like both of the main characters, Scarlet and Tella. They are sisters. So, like, the first book's really about Scarlet, and then the second one's really about Tella, and then the third one's kind of about everybody.
Yeah.
And I really like both of those characters because they're different. Scarlet I could probably relate more to, because she's more cautious. Like, she thinks about things before she does them. And a lot of times I overthink things.
Yeah, me
like
too.
that. But then she kind of comes out of her shell as you go along. But she's also kind of proves, like, I'm strong even though I'm not as outgoing as my sister. And Tella, I think, was a character that was interesting because she kind of just seemed like this. She doesn't think things through. She just kind of does things and then deals with the fallout. But so she kind of grows up, I think, too, and learns a lot. But both of them really care about each other and their family, and they want to, they're always trying to do the right thing. And
yeah, they're really good characters too. I like them a lot.
And then there's a spinoff of that series, and I like the main character of that book. series as well, which we won't talk a whole lot about because she ain't got to that part and don't know anything about that world. But her name is Evangeline, I believe. If I didn't just
My belle Evangeline.
pull that out of my butt, but I'm pretty sure that's her name. And she's also, I guess, I like that author really, I guess, writes the females to be, I think, kind of relatable in different ways, like for different people, depending on your sort of personality.
Yeah.
Because that character she's more about always trying to see the best in people and giving people the benefit of the doubt. Instead of, just assuming everybody's bad because of one thing. So.
Yeah. A series that I like that she hasn't read at all yet is the Cormoran Strike series, which is by Robert Galbraith, which is J.K. Rowling. But the two main characters are Cormoran Strike and Robin Ellicott. And so Robin is Cormoran's, in the beginning, she's kind of his secretary, so to speak, and she grows over the series and has a larger role. And this is also a television series, but I think it's kind of like a TV movie series, kind of like Sherlock, because I think the episodes are kind of long, and because they only do one per book.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't actually watched that yet. But Robin, I like that she grows into herself more because she becomes more and more confident over the books. And I'm not going to say a whole lot because she might read them one day or watch the show. But she also has to deal with a lot. I mean, this is within the real world, quote unquote. So she deals with real world issues and she, handles them pretty well. And she's just kind of been through some stuff. And it all builds up to making her a more complex person, but also more of a real person, because real people have to deal with real things like, not making enough money at your job and, wondering about how you're going to pay your bills. And, so I feel like I really like that aspect of Robin too, how she just keeps plowing ahead and, she finally finds kind of her passion, so she keeps going after that, which I admire. So I really like that character.
Another young adult series, let's keep it going, another character I like from the selection is America Singer.
Yes.
Who's the main character.
Yeah.
I think I like that character too because, I think sometimes she's also a character who just does things without really thinking about it, and then she's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she does really care about people and always does want to do the right thing, even though she may not necessarily go about it in the right way.
Yeah. And
she kind of becomes, she starts looking after some of the other girls and kind of looks, tries to fight for them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she's got her love stuff going on.
Yeah.
And even though she is kind of, it is a book about, it's kind of like a Bachelor-esque type of series.
But see, she becomes... the thing about her is that when she gets chosen for the selection, first of all, she's not even really sure she wants to go because she's kind of in a sort of a relationship with a guy from home. And I feel like, she takes the space she needs to figure out what she really wants, and what she really wants, she goes after it. But also, she does buck tradition a little bit, and like she wears pants at the palace instead of just wearing dresses all the time. And so that's why I really just liked America, because she, and then when the time came later on in the series to take on some different roles, and then also in the sequels and things like that. She really stepped up to the plate, and she became her own person, which is the best way to be, in my opinion, like in a couple. Each person needs to be their own person that then they form together, instead of having your identity so swept up in your relationship status. Because if your relationship ends, then
who are you?
Who are you? So I really liked America for that reason.
Taking the time to really figure out, do I want to be queen? Do I want to do this? And not just, this has to be my life, I guess. Like, what's best for me, not...
Well, and not just thinking like, I'll be set for life. If I'm the queen, I can just put my feet up and have servants wait on me hand and foot. And, that was never going to be her. And I liked that.
Yeah.
So, some other young adult books. This is not really a series, but the books are related because these characters are in both of them. And one of them is a movie. So, one of them is Dumpling. So, Willa Dean, who's the main character in Dumpling. They made that into a movie. Then there's a sequel, sort of a sequel, it's more of a spinoff, called Puddin', which is about Millie. And Millie's one of Willa Dean's friends in Dumpling. And then she kind of gets her own book. So I love both of those books and both of those characters. Of course, they're both kind of about body positivity, which of course I am cool with because, and it's good to see characters that look like you, obviously. And they're set in the South, which I appreciate. And, I feel like, Willa Dean is kind of like living in her mom's shadow because her mom was this really beautiful person, and so she feels like, but that's kind of how the town is, like being pretty is important. It doesn't matter if you're smart or good at things. If you're pretty, you win.
Yeah.
And, so then Willa Dean decides that she's gonna, really kind of throw a monkey wrench in the system and enter the pageant and stuff. And she brings Millie along for the ride. And then in the Puddin' book, Millie's kind of finding her own way. She's, trying to become a journalist, but again, she really wants to be on TV, like be a TV news reporter. And of course, a lot of them are, thin, beautiful people, and nothing wrong with that. But, it's one of those things to where she has this idea of herself and other people don't see it that way because of what they're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And both girls have to kind of carve their own path and kind of make people see things a different way, which I appreciate too. And so they're just both really good characters, and they just, Millie especially, I really liked her. I really like Willa Dean too, but Millie really is headstrong about stuff, which I appreciate. She's like, this is going to be what's going to happen, and, So both of those books and both of those characters I really, really like.
From going kind of in a mystery direction, also young adult books, though. I like Charlotte Holmes from the Charlotte Holmes series.
Yeah.
So Charlotte's interesting because she's basically supposed to be a young female version of Sherlock Holmes. Really. She's supposed to be a descendant of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And so she has some issues, obviously, because she's supposed to be like Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
Which, with like the addiction problems and stuff, but I think the thing I like a lot about her is she is able to pull herself out of it. And even though she like accepts help from Jamie and, other characters, she doesn't fully rely on anybody. It's kind of like she's independent, but knows, I guess, or she learns eventually, like, when to ask for help, kind of. It's sort of a learning curve for her. She could be a character that's frustrating sometimes because you're like,
very much so.
Why are you doing that?
Yes.
But of course, I always love the mystery solving. people because I love mysteries myself.
Yeah.
So, and I've read some other books recently, like the Inheritance Games books. What's her name?
Kylie.
I don't know about that. And then Truly Devious. Stevie is the main character. Stevie kind of reminds me a lot of Charlotte. They have sort of a similar mentality and outlook on things that can sometimes be frustrating, but you also are rooting for them at the same time to figure out what's going on. All I can think of is Eris, because that's what Jamie calls her. I can't think of what her actual name is. But anyway, I like that character too, I guess, kind of along similar lines.
No, it's Avery.
Avery.
But I think her middle name's Kylie. I think it's Avery Kylie Grahams.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
I know Kylie was in there somewhere.
I like all three of those characters because they're I feel like especially Charlotte and Stevie are slightly complicated people. Maybe maybe more so than Avery is. But all kind of, in that mystery genre.
Yeah.
I like.
The other young adult character that I have is from Fangirl, which is not a mystery, but Kath from Fangirl.
Yeah.
I really like Kath. Obviously, I like Wren and Reagan too, but Kath is better to me. And
relatable.
Yeah. She's all about her fan fiction, and then she does still learn to find love, and she's kind of she's another one that was kind of used to being in her sister's shadow a little bit, and she finds her own way, and I just really, she was a nerd girl, so we related to that.
I was gonna say I really related to that. I used to write a lot of fan fiction, and so it's kind of cool seeing somebody like back mostly when I was in high school and college is when I wrote fan fiction a lot, and that was sort of, she was freshman in college going in, and I thought that's so cool, that to read about, I guess, because I didn't really know anybody else personally that wrote fan fiction, except for you wrote one.
Yeah, that's great.
Everybody, there were people online, but I didn't know those people.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I like books that about,
yeah,
nerds, fangirls, and fanboys who like to write fan fiction. And
plus her fan fiction's pretty good too. And that was another one of my favorite characters, Penelope, from the Simon Snow series. That it's kind of confusing because the first book in the Simon Snow series, I'm pretty sure they're all supposed to be her fan fiction. It kind of gets twisted because the first book is called Carry On, which is the book that Kath is writing.
Yeah, her fan fiction story she's been writing.
So, here's what's confusing. I just don't know why Rainbow Rowell didn't take on a pseudonym to write why didn't she write as Kath?
As Kath. For that book.
So, because then there were like 2 more Simon Snow books, but I'm assuming that they're all really supposed to be her fan fiction because, but see, the Simon Snow books were also real books. So.
Yeah. In the Fangirl, they were real books, but I think I started reading Carry On.
Yeah.
I've read a couple chapters of it, but it's more, you learn in Fangirl.
Yeah.
That she's writing the fan fiction about
Simon and Baz.
Simon and Baz, the two characters who, in the original series, they were kind of like Harry and Draco.
Yeah.
Almost of the series, a little bit, to think of it that way. So I think in the original series, they never got together.
Yeah.
But in the fan fiction, that was like her ship, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I expect them to get together, but I've only made it a couple chapters in, so.
Well, in the Simon Snow series, Simon's best friend is Penelope Bunce. And she's awesome too because she always having to keep Simon out of trouble. And she's a powerful witch in her own right. And so, anyway, I really like Penelope also.
Mm-hmm. On sort of, well, I guess I have really one that's not remotely supernatural. Well, kind of almost along, it kind of matches along the same lines, is Mia Connors from the Geek Girls Guide books. She was also sort of a same thing, kind of a nerd, and she was really into like the Renaissance fair type of deal. But she also kind of, I think, because she was like a tech. I think she was like a tech person. Was what she did for her regular job. She kind of almost made me think of Garcia from Criminal Minds.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that's why I liked her so much.
Probably.
Because she reminded me of her. But it's kind of like she was herself, and she didn't try to hide it from anybody. Like, yeah, I'm a geek. I don't care. Like, I like to go to she like worked, I think, at the Ren Fair like a lot.
Oh, cool.
But then also she was solving mysteries. So going back to the mystery thing.
Yeah.
But she was just so, I guess, too, another thing I could relate to, even though I've never been to the Renaissance Fair. But as far as like cosplay and, you know, plus, like I said, she kind of reminded me of Garcia, which helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, another mystery character that I really like is Aurora Teagarden. So they did, of course, those are Hallmark movies now.
Yeah.
And the Hallmark, I think, is out, you know, they're past the books, and it's not the same, exactly the same as the books. But also, Aurora doesn't look remotely similar to the Aurora of the books.
No.
Because the Aurora of the books is supposed to have, like, this wild, bushy hair and wear glasses, and she's just kind of, like, meek and mild looking kind of a person. And of course Candace Cameron Bure does not look like that.
No.
But I liked Aurora because she was, you know, she lived in this small town, and she kind of kept her passions for solving murders because with the Real Murders Club that she had, because she was a librarian, and you know, she just I don't know, I just really liked that character. I felt like she just, you know, small town living, I could relate to her a little bit. And
she seemed pretty like a normal person.
Yeah. So
who made murder boards.
Yeah. You know, why not?
Why not? Well, kind of sticking with the same author, going over to the Southern Vampire Mysteries is Sookie Stackhouse.
Yes.
So I love Sookie. Now, Sookie from the show.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, we didn't mention True Blood before in the TV show video.
That's because we don't like Sookie that good on the TV show.
In the books, I really liked her. So first of all, she was from the South, which, as you know, we can relate to.
Yeah.
And some of the things, I guess, her mannerisms and the way that she treated people, I guess, is how you like to hope people.
Yeah.
You know, kind of the Southern hospitality thing.
Right.
Well, not that everybody's like that, but.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of fascinated with the supernatural world and did get into messes, of course. But also really, I feel like did have a good head on her shoulders, and she really thought about things, and she knew kind of what she wanted in life and didn't settle for anything less. Like she didn't, when one of the people, one of the vampires or somebody was up to nonsense, she would call them out on it.
Right.
And she wasn't afraid to get involved if she was trying to help somebody she cared about.
Yeah.
She'd put herself in danger.
Yeah.
And she also was a character, which, as you know, I appreciate, who was never fully obsessed with any love interest.
Right.
She had various love interests throughout the whole thing. But she never seemed like, if I'm not with one of somebody in particular, I will absolutely die.
Yeah, like there weren't just blank pages that had months listed on them like in a certain other book about vampires.
Like it drives me nuts when characters are just so obsessed with one other character that you're like, or when people are like that in real life too. I'm like, oh my God, get a life. Like,
yeah.
Stop being obsessed with one person. Like,
Yes.
if they're not there, you should still be fine. Like,
Right.
you will carry on,
Yes.
essentially. And I appreciated that about her. And, you know,
Yeah.
she was a strong character, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked Sookie too. I really loved those books until they got to the fairy arc. But they were, you know, Sookie always tried to take care of the people around her as best she could, and I appreciated that. But, you know, and she was like a strong partner when she was in a relationship. I felt like she still didn't lose herself, even though, you know, she was, when she did, which is important, which is how people should be.
Yeah. She really never, I guess, it's not like she'd do things for people, like, you know, her boyfriends or whatever, but she was never willing to compromise, like, her beliefs and her values.
Yeah.
Which is good. And you really shouldn't have to. Like,
Right.
it's one thing to compromise on things, which we've talked about, but it's another to have to change
who you are.
Yeah, your core values and beliefs
Right.
for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't do that.
Are they really that much of a value if you can easily just
change them?
Toss it away.
No, they are not. So I just want to mention, so like one of my favorite authors is Mary Kay Andrews. A lot of her characters are very similar, and they're just light reads. They're beach reads, right? So like these women are not necessarily the strong, fearless leader, you know, not obsessed about looking good. Sometimes they are kind of like that. They want to look good, but most of them are from the South, so I kind of still can relate to them a little bit. But also, a lot of them she just writes really funny characters, and a lot of the characters end up in either an enemies to lovers trope or friends to lovers trope, which I also like. So I just generally like her female characters. She has these two, BB and Weasley, and they're best friends, and there's 4 different books. They kind of focus on, one's about BB, one's about Weasley, and then the Christmas one's kind of... But anyway, I really like them too because they get in, and some of her books are kind of mysteries too, but I mean, most of the women are still pretty strong-willed, even though they're they get a little bit more catering to the whims of men sometimes, but still, I feel like on the whole, I still like her characters. They're pretty entertaining people.
I'll say that too. I really like Sophie Kinsella books, and I like a lot. I've read a lot of chick lit.
Yeah.
And I really like chick lit a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm like you, some of the characters tend to be similar. Like in...
Yeah.
You kind of got the main character in a chick lit novel kind of usually follows sort of the same pattern a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do really like those. I like her books a lot.
Yeah.
And other similar chick lit books, but...
And I'm with you, like it doesn't bother me as much when people are obsessed over other people. I mean, it doesn't bother me as much, but it is still kind of annoying. But one book series that it didn't bother me as much as it did you was Cat and Bones. I really did like Cat, the Night Huntress series. I really did like her, mostly because she was a badass. And at first, she would put up with none of Bones' nonsense. But then they were equally obsessed with each other. It's not like she was just obsessed with him and he wasn't obsessed with her. They were equally obsessed. But, you know, I know they got over her. I stuck with it, and it didn't bother me as much, but I really did like that character. I like Janine Frost's characters for the most part, too, but they are all very obsessed with each other.
Yeah, I did really like Cat, and I like that series as a whole. It is one of my favorite, like, supernatural series. But, yeah, I did get kind of tired of it after a while.
Yeah.
I like to have some, I guess... I don't know, when I'm reading a series, it's always more interesting when there are multiple love interests and like multiple, I guess, options.
Yeah.
And there never really were, and I guess it's kind of like they were always just so... I mean, at first I really liked it. Mm-hmm. But then after a while, you know, because they were like bickering and they were whatever, but then after a while it was like, I can't live without, like, literally, she thought he was dead and was going to kill herself, and I'm like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
No.
So, but overall, I like the character, though.
Yeah.
And another character, so I liked, and sort of on a similar note to like Winona that we were talking about in the TV, is Charlie Davidson.
Oh yeah,
I like those books, but she was similar to Winona in that she was kind of a hot mess.
Yes,
and but she was also funny to me. Just the things that she would, I guess it's the way the books were written. I just thought they were funny. And it was kind of after a while, I don't even know how they ended or how many there ended up being.
I only read 3 of them. She got on my nerves sometimes.
I read like, I don't know, at least like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to check it out.
Kind of like Kat, she eventually became too obsessed with this one guy, which I didn't like, so that's one of the reasons I quit reading it. Mm-hmm. But I liked the entertainingness of the character because she wasn't like any other character until I started watching Winona Earp. Yeah. That was really like that. That was such a hot mess, but in a funny way.
Right.
And, you know, did have those real emotional moments, but made a joke and it was sarcastic about everything, which admittedly can get old after a while, but...
Well, that's kind of how Lexi Graves is, too. Mm-hmm. She's kind of a hot mess, too, and she gets into nonsense all the time, too.
Yeah.
I think I've read 2 or 3 of those, also.
I like those books, except for a lot of times I feel like she doesn't figure stuff out quick enough.
Yeah.
Like, I already know the answer to the whole mystery.
Right.
Way before anybody else does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all are supposed to be private detectives, but
yeah,
whatever. I like Solomon. Okay, so you're up.
Oh, well, I only have 1 left.
I think that's my last one that I had written down.
So the other one that I wanted to mention, and you just probably didn't think of her when you were making your list, or you would have mentioned her too, is Carlotta Wren from the Body Movers series. So we've talked about body movers on this podcast, whatever that show. What is this? Oh my gosh, my brain's broken. We've talked about it on here before. But anyway, I like Carlotta because, I mean, she's kind of, you know, she's not she prioritizes things I don't necessarily prioritize, like looking good, kind of, and finding a man sometimes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, her main priority is taking care of her family. Mm-hmm. She really kind of gave up her whole life to raise her brother when her parents dipped out. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she has a lot of issues that she has to take care of, and then there's murders, and anyway, but she manages it all, and that's pretty impressive. And then eventually, you know, she kind of comes into her own, and so I just really liked Carlotta. I felt like she was a really good character. Mm-hmm.
She figures out her path.
Yes.
And goes for it and manages to... Well, she did manage to survive and keep going.
Yeah. All
those years that her parents abandoned her. And then we ever just forgave them and forgot about it, even though I didn't. And I don't know why everybody was so forgiving to her dad especially, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't either.
Watch our Body Movers videos for more of me talking about that.
Yeah. And then I do also like, this is kind of general, but Stephanie Bond, we've talked about this on other things. She always writes these she's the last several years been writing these girl series. And so far I've liked every one of those girls too. Coma Girl, Elevator Girl.
Temp Girl.
What was the other one? Factory Girl. Wasn't that one of them?
Yeah.
Is that all of them? Or is there one more?
I feel like there's another one. Who was the one? Was Temp Girl the one who was hooking up with their neighbor? The guy with the beard?
Did he have a beard? I don't know. Lottery Girl. That was another one. We didn't say Lottery Girl.
Lottery Girl.
Coma Girl, Temp Girl, Factory Girl, Lottery Girl, Elevator Girl. I
Is
think
that 6?
No, it's 5.
Didn't that start in 2016?
Did it? Yeah, but this is 2022. This one hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Did it start in 16?
I don't know. Anyway.
I'm going to look in the Kindle app. See which one we're forgetting.
There may be 5 or there may be 6. I don't know. But those are good. Usually those...
Comeback Girl.
Yeah. Was she the one that... One of them was hooking up with her neighbor and he had a beard.
I don't remember.
In the kitchen.
I don't remember that bit.
He was like a chef and he was snarky.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
A chef. That was...
Was that Comeback Girl or Temp Girl?
That was Temp Girl, I think. I think that was Temp Girl.
Because she was with that guy and the rich guy. And then
I think it was Temp Girl.
She agreed to marry him even though she cheated on him or something.
Maybe.
Anyway, not great decisions are always made, but...
Right. But they persevere.
And I'll just give a other general shout out because I used to read a lot of Nicholas Sparks books, and I did like a lot of the characters from those, like Julie from The Guardian. I liked. They all had kind of a similar thing.
Yeah.
But even though we'll talk about in the movie video, one of the characters I actually like better in the movie, but we'll talk about that one in that video.
Oh, and last but not least, Cam Jansen.
Amelia Bedelia.
Yep, Emily Arrow from the Polk Street School Kids. Jessie and Violet from the Boxcar Children. Wasn't Jessie a girl?
Mrs. What's-her-face from West Side Story.
Oh, yeah. Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Mrs. Zarves. Just kidding. Miss Zarves was the evil one that was on the 19th floor. Yeah. What was the main teacher's name? I just read that book not that long ago.
No, it's been a long time since I read that book.
Yeah, no, I read it the other day because I was going to reread them because there's a new one.
What about the Herdmans?
Oh, Dip! Imogene Herdman! Imogene Herdman is a good character, to be fair. She's complex.
Mm-hmm. Some of the Babysitters Club. I used to read. I need to
Yeah, the Littles.
Nancy Drew.
Oh, yeah.
I really should have mentioned Nancy Drew. I wasn't really thinking a lot about younger, kids' books or anything. But I used to read the heck out of Nancy Drew books. And as you know, I love a good mystery.
Yep. Cam Jansen did mysteries. Mm-hmm. She had a photographic memory. She'd go click. I loved the Polk Street School Kids. And the mysteries. That was about Dawn Bosco mostly. She was kind of annoying in some of the others, but she was good in the mysteries. Mm-hmm. I like mysteries too.
Love a good mystery.
Yeah. Junie B. Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Barb, the Last Berserker. I just started reading that. For real.
For real.
Junie B. She was good too. And Amber Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, now we're just thinking of all the things
thinking
from
of
childhood.
Kids' books.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen our TV version of this video, you can go check it out now. And later on after this video, we'll have a movie version as well.
Yes.
So, stay tuned for that and other content.
Let us know who some of your favorite characters are in the comments below so that we can maybe check out those books or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And come back for more.
Yep. We'll be here.
Yes.
Probably.
Probably.
Maybe.
Almost definitely. Bye.
See you later, alligators.